Yes, Ram.
Everyone can see my screen?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes,
Oh,
Ram.
okay. Okay. Let's do. Okay. Before starting React, I think I have given some of the React core structure, but I'll give it again. Um, like um, like basics, guys. Okay, I'll just type what are the basics that we are going to learn, and I will also um share the concepts today. Mm, Let me open. Okay, so React. Okay, first of all, what is React? Okay, what is React? Can someone answer what is React? In your own words, you can explain. You don't need to tell me the definition, or in your own words, someone can tell me what is React. No one.
Built-in library.
Okay.
Like single page application.
Okay. So we will create single page applications by using React, and it is a front end UI library, right? And more. No one. Only Triveni told. Any one point. No one knows nothing about React.
It has two components, function and class.
Yeah, that is different. That is when we get into the React. But first of all, what features that does React have? Like what features React have? Like it is component based architecture, right?
Oh,
Yesterday I said component based architecture.
And React is a single page application.
Yeah, we can create single page applications. It is a front end library. Okay, it is used to build user interfaces, or front end library to build user interfaces. Okay, React is used to build user interfaces. We can create single page applications, and it is component based architecture. So you'll write components. Okay. Next, how many types of components we have? Function and class. Okay, you can create a component by using function, and you can use class ES6 syntax. Okay, like class before ES5 we do not have class keyword. Okay, like ES6 onwards, like we have this class keyword. Okay, uh, just a minute, guys. Okay, okay. Ashita, do you have anything to ask?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so state versus props. I think yes, you all know what is state of the application, but we don't know how to handle the state now in React, right? So I'll keep on adding more and more concepts here. I'll share it with you by today by end of the day. But let's learn one by one concept now. So who else is having a problem in understanding function and class? Because when I ask how many types of components, see, no one responding. Who else have trouble in creating function and class component? Because if you want, I'll tell once again how to create components in like by using function and class. Hello, Bhagavan, do you have any difficulty? ReactJS is only used in front end only. You like you cannot use that in the back end, and that is a different thing again. Like if you have, so there is a something called server side rendering, okay, SSR, server side rendering. So
Yeah,
mostly
okay.
this so you can also use React that side, but that is not a technology. Like again, whatever the React code that you write, that is again it will come to front only. So that doesn't mean you write backend. So let's take like example like Next.js. So you can server side render. So this is a full framework, front end and back end. So internally it uses React. Okay. So there are two different components like server components and client components. So you can write components on the server side, but again this is a different thing. So end of the day, whatever the component you write, that will process on the server side and it is sent to the front end. Okay? So don't go into that complexity as of now. So mostly now, if you see React library, React.js, okay, so you like have this official website react.dev. So if any documentation or any reference, you can check this. So it is a library for building web and native user interfaces. So I'll come to the point native, why native, but not now. So you can build web user interfaces by using this library, and it is component based library. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
Ram, what is difference between React and Angular song?
Hmm. So Angular is a I'll tell you like clearly. So who asked this question, Naresh or someone?
Yeah, Ram, me only.
Okay. Mm, okay. So we have this Angular and like Angular, right? Angular and uh, React. Okay. We have two different things in the front end side. So Angular is a framework. It's not a library. Um, like let's take something like this is different. Okay, Angular is different, React is different. There are a lot of difference with this. If you go with the differences, right, so this is not a library, this is a complete framework, and this is a library. So what is library, what is framework, I'll tell you. But um, what happen is React will only concentrate on the UI. Okay, let's say you have something in the UI, like you have a website, right? So you have a website. So in this website, when you want something like some data fetching, right? For example, you have list of items here to display. Okay, list of items or list of products you will display in your website. Okay, so React only take care of how you are presenting your UI. Like it doesn't care how you gonna fetch this list of products from a remote server. Okay, you have a server and you have a server and database in the back end. So you want some data to be fetched from here, right? Here to here. And then that list you will show here. So React only take care how you are showing the UI. Only one single responsibility is to build user interfaces. That's it. If you want routing and navigation, React doesn't provide any support for routing and navigation. Doesn't provide any support for making API calls to backend services and getting the information. Okay, it only cares about UI, how your UI is looking to the user, how you are handling the UI state management. That's it. So other things, so it like other Angular, what happens is Angular will take care of everything, not only the UI, but also if you want to make API calls, there is something called HTTP client in Angular. And if you like, there is something called dependency injection. Okay, dependency injection. So these kind of concepts you will see in Angular, but not in React. Like Angular means full, like it gives lot of options to you. Like options in the sense it internally it will have, like Angular will have lot of code base and like if you see the docs, like HTTP client, right? So it provides this HTTP client. You can import it from common HTTP library of Angular. And if you go back, you will see lot of things again. Like here you see dependency injection, right? So Angular will have this concept called dependency injection. Okay, so these kind of things you will see only in Angular, but not in React. For example, to make a API call, I need to use, so I need to, for example, I need to make a get API call or something, HTTP. So then I can use this library. But in React, you have many options to import. You have to use third-party libraries like Axios. Okay, so this Axios is a third-party library again. So you can use Axios, you can use React Query. There are some other HTTP libraries. So for example, if you are not good with Axios, you use another third-party library. So that is the benefit that you are going to get if you are using a library. For example, if you use Angular, then you have to definitely use this HTTP client. But if and there is something called RxJS, this one also. But mostly in React, we will have that feasibility to use some other third-party library. So let's say we have this React DOM. Okay, React DOM. So if this React DOM is a library for routing and navigation. Okay, this is a third-party library. This React DOM is a third-party library. But in Angular, Angular itself provides you the routing and navigation. Okay, there is no separate library required. It provides you the routing, Angular/router. It provides you the Angular/router module for you. That is a library. So it's Angular is a framework. It is a mixture of libraries. But React, it's not a framework. It's a standalone library. And if you want some other functionalities, then you have to use a third-party library. For example, if I am not understanding this React DOM code I can use any other library, that navigation library. I think you got right. Have you understood, Naresh?
Yes, Ram.
Yeah, yes, Ram.
Yeah. So like React Angular means it is complete framework which
Yeah,
gives
yeah.
like which have all the libraries in it, and you have to use that, and it is a complete package, complete framework. But React doesn't support any navigation. Okay, so if you want
Okay.
navigation, you have to again install a third-party library. But here, Angular itself will provide you the router for navigation,
Okay.
for managing. So in this way, for example, if you want to, so here Angular will give you that RxJS observables, but in React there is no external state management. Like you have to use Redux. Redux is again a third-party library. So you have to,
Yeah.
if you don't like Redux, you can use other libraries like Mobex. So there are multiple number of state management libraries. So that is that. Okay. Okay. So I'm like, anyone having difficulty, again I'm asking, function, class, components, creation?
No, sir.
No one, right? Okay. Do we fetch data from API? Yes, we will fetch data from API by using React. Yes, we will fetch the data from you from API. So we have different ways. Okay, mostly we will use fetch call. Okay, fetch. There is something called fetch. So this fetch API is built in JavaScript function. Okay, this fetch call. This fetch is there, right? So you have this function, right? Fetch. So you give a URL to this fetch function. It will pull the API from the backend. Okay, or else we can use a third-party library, Axios. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? I'll start with state and props. First, I'll go with props, then state. Any questions? I'll tell both in both the class component and function component, so that you will understand. No questions, right?
No
No,
questions,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, yes, Ram.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Ram.
So where is our project? Okay. Let me run this app. So yesterday we created this app. Okay. So if you have any doubts in box model also, I will explain. So who is having box model doubts? So I'll like ping me separately. If I will discuss in a one-to-one call or something.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, and I'm gonna remove all this to explain you the state. Okay, I'm gonna remove all these components also. I'm deleting all the components. So for every file you keep one component. Okay, for one file, one component, like that. So this is app component. So now like we'll discuss two things. Okay, we have two things, guys: props and state. What is props and what is state? Anyone know the difference? So today we have to completely learn by so we started 8:30. By 9:30, 10 more half an hour is there. We have to be very much have strong knowledge in this props and state. What is props? What is state? Okay, you know state, right? Yesterday we discussed. State means okay.
Built-in object to store data.
Props also is a object, built-in object to store data.
Means props, it can it can take data from parent class to child class, right?
Yeah, but what is the difference? State is also object, okay? Props also object, state also object. Okay, so props, like let's take, like as someone said, you have parent. Okay, you have the parent. This is parent. Okay, parent component. And similarly you have one child component. Okay, child. So parent component is there and child component is there. If so, let's take some data. So let's say we have some data. Okay, let's say we have some data. So this data, if you want to send this data from parent component to child component, if you want to pass this data from parent to child, then you will use props. Okay, so if you want, there is some data in the parent component and you want to use that in child component, so what you will do, you have to pass the data, right? Like you will share the data to this component. So in this way, like in this usage, we will use props. But state, state is internal to the component. So let's say we have one component. So this component, for example, state is also some data, but the data you will not pass. You can also pass, but how you are going to manage the data inside this component? So every component will have its own state. Okay, you have to remember this line very carefully. Every component will have its own state. Very important. Every component will have its own state. Okay, so props means you will pass the data from parent to child, and the state means the data that you are going to manage inside the component, within the component itself. So it's both are objects. State is also object and props also object. So let's go with props now. Okay, so I will create two components here. One is parent component, parent.jsx, and another one is child.jsx. Okay, so let's write that component. Okay, function child. So in this way you will write a component, return keyword, you show a div saying that this is child component, and you export here. Export, because every file, every component you write, you have to export. So you can export here you can export here in the last line, or you can also directly export here. You can directly export here. If you don't want to write that extra line, you can directly export here. You can prefix this export default here, so that this entire component will be exported. Okay, so but for clarity purpose, I will write it here on the last line. Export default child. Like this, you export the function component. So now you have to write the parent also. Okay, parent component. Return div parent component. Okay, so you have two components, child and parent. This is not exported. So we will export default default parent. So two components I have created, and both we are exporting them, parent and child. So now what I will do, first I will write parent here. So this parent is the instant of this function. Okay, so this parent is a object. Okay, so I'll tell you why this is an object. When we create a class component, then you will get to know more detail why we are writing this tag here. See, we wrote a function, and for no reason we are using a tag syntax, HTML tag syntax, and writing that function, right? See, we are using this function name and writing it as a HTML tag. Don't you think this is stupid, right? See, how you gonna mix HTML and JavaScript, right? This is JSX, so you can do all these stupid things in this. This makes no sense, right? Because
But
this
it
is
is
a
like a
JavaScript.
prop type.
Sorry.
But it is like a prop type. Like you can access the parent class. You can access the child class through the parent class.
Yeah, I'm coming to that point in the next, but now what I'm saying is, so you create a function component. This is a function, right? This parent is nothing but it's
A
a
function.
function. What code this is? JavaScript or PHP or what?
JavaScript.
This is JavaScript, right? So you wrote a JavaScript function and told this as a component, but here in the app, what you are doing here, you're using that that function as a HTML tag, right?
HTML tag.
Yeah. So mostly how you will create like, let's take an example. I think you all know Java and all those things. Okay, so how you will write a object in Java? Let's take like how you will write a class, right? So you write a class, int class or class int. How you will write a class in Java or some other language? Who know Java, core Java? Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How you write class? Is this the correct way to write class in Java?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now how you will create object?
The
Like
class name.
yeah, you will create object, right, with new keyword, right?
Yeah.
New car.
Class name new keyword.
Class
Yeah.
name equal to new queue.
Sorry.
Or equal
Class
to new
name.
car.
Class
Class name, sir.
Car
class name, sir.
object is
Equal
equal
to
to new car,
Is
like
equal
this.
to new.
New
New.
instance.
Yeah, you will create one instance, right? New
Yeah.
instance, right? Like this, by using the new keyword. So the same thing, the same thing here. This is nothing but a new instance. Okay, background, this will create a new parent. You understood my point? You no need to write a new keyword and parent. Okay, like this. So you create a class. Let's take one example now. Let's create one more component. Okay, parent class component dot jsx. Okay, you write a class here, parent class component, right? Yesterday I told you how you can write a function, a class component. Extends react dot component, right? Like this. And you return, you write a render method. This is an important method that you should write in class components, and you return some JSX. Okay, parent class component, and you export this file, default parent class component. Now this is a class, right? So this class I can write like this, no? New parent class component to create an instance or object. But I'm not using this new keyword. I don't want to use this new keyword. And this is a class. I have to create n number of objects from it, right? But I'm not creating any object. If I write like this, let's take like this, parent class component. This is nothing but an object. This is nothing but object creation or instance creation. So in the background, React will create that instance for you. You need not to create. Whenever this React, let's treat like React as a man. Okay, he is a manager. So when it sees this tag, it will assume, okay, you wrote this, so now I will create one instance. Where is that class? It's in the component / parent component, parent class component folder. So components folder, parent class. It will find that class and it will create an instance of this. You need not to create an instance. You just declare a class. It will do all the things backend. Okay. So now if you see here, I started this, right? So nothing loading. What is the issue? There is something error here. React is not defined. Okay, here this React is not defined, so I will write like import React from React. Okay. Okay. So you see parent component is rendered and parent class component is rendered. Both the components rendered. So if I want to create one more instance, like I'll copy this and I'll write again. It will create another instance. How many instances you want? That many it will create. Like you write a tag, it will create an instance of that class. Okay. So now let's not get into that much. So if you have some, now you have parent right here. So inside the parent, I'll write child component. So I'll write the child component. So now you see you have two components, parent component and child component rendered. Okay. You see the body there. Here parent component rendered here and another div is child. Okay. You also check components. So how I'm getting these components and profiler, all this, you can install this React dev tools. Okay. You type React dev tools. So this is an extension, Chrome plugin. So if you install this, you can install this actually. For example, if I go here, install this from Chrome.
So React developer tools. So I already installed. So any React website, if you go here, you can see the parents and like all the components here, and you can see the performance of the page by using this profiler. So this is not required as of now, but you can see that like when I click here, I'll get this components, right? So that I can clearly show. See, app is the root component. Inside the app, you have this parent component, and inside parent, you have this child component. Okay, parent-child relationship. Now let's take one example. Like parent is having some data. Okay, let username is equal to, okay, username or some language name. Okay, language name is equal to, okay, JavaScript. I'm telling you the props. Okay, so here you have some data, whatever the data that I discussed with you here, this data, right? So this is nothing but this data. Any piece of information is called data, and now here that piece is this string. So this is data. So if you have some data here, right, in the parent component. So if I want to show that, I can write JavaScript in JSX by using this curly brackets. Okay, so I can use this property name or the variable name, and I can write like this. So data is there in parent component, right? If I show you side by side, I will put. Okay. Okay. So this is parent component, and now you see this data is present in parent component, right? This is parent function, and we have data in parent component. So now I want to use this language name in our child component. I want to show that JavaScript in this component. I don't want to maintain separate data here again. Like let lang name is equal to, again I have to write, right? See, again I have to write, and again here I have to do like this. So I have to maintain two different here, like two different data. Now parent is having the data and child is also having the data, but I don't want to use this. For example, tomorrow another language comes, or PHP or something, then I have to change it two places, right? Parent and child also. So that's why I don't want to use it here. Here I don't want. You will get error because you are using this. Okay. So what I will do, I will pass this lang name or language name via props to this child component. Here you write a property name, lang name, and here you have this language name variable. You assign that variable name here like this. So whenever you use JavaScript, like this language name is nothing but this variable. So whenever you write a variable or function inside this JavaScript JSX, you have to use this curly brackets. Okay, let's take like no as a lang name. Okay, so now here you write props here. So props is an object. Okay, so how props will look like? So whenever you pass some information here, how props will be created? Let props is equal to, props is an object, I already told you. Okay, so now this lang name, this property, whatever is there, will come like this, lang name. So it will pass like this, props dot lang name. Okay, it will create, React will create this object for you. You need not to create this. Okay, so here you have props, and if you can use that props like this, props dot lang name, like this you use. So now you see, you do not maintain any separate data here in the child. This data is coming from parent to child. Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see this child is having a prop here now, right? Parent doesn't accept any props, no props. Parent is sending that property to the child. Okay. So now you see child is having a property called lang name. So this is how you accept the props. Props, you pass the props here and use it to child component. So you can pass any number of props, like you can pass another also. Let's say version is equal to ES7. Okay, now you can pass that version also. Version is equal to version, like this you pass to the child component. Okay, and here if you want to use that version, you write props dot version like this. So now you see version is also, it's a prop coming from the parent. And so I'm using it, I'm writing it, right? I see. Okay, you see this data I'm sending to the child component here. This is prop. Okay, you have to write like you can pass n number of props. Okay, props, property. Okay, prop, and you provide a value to that prop, and this value currently it is a string, but you can write how many like the value might not only be the string. Okay, you can pass arrays, like let's say you have fruits array. Okay, fruits array. So now you can also pass that fruits is equal to fruits. You can pass array also. There is nothing that you cannot pass. Okay, you can pass objects, arrays, strings, booleans, numbers, whatever it may be. You can pass that information from parent to child. Okay, but you cannot pass the data from child to parent. This comes one more difference is that one-way data flow. Okay, so you can only pass data from parent component to child component only. You can pass. This is called one-way data flow. Data will flow from top to down. Okay, one-way data flow. Data will, you cannot send information from child to parent. You can only send the data from parent to child. Okay, one-way data flow. But in Angular provides two-way data binding. Okay, React will have is only single way, but Angular you can send the data from parent to child and child to parent. Two-way data binding in Angular. Okay, two-way data binding, but here only one-way data binding. One-way data binding or data flow you can call. One-way data flow. The data will flow only from parent to child. That's it. You cannot send the information from child to parent. Let's take one example here. Like something you have here. Let x is equals to 10. So you want to pass this x to the parent component. Is it possible now? How you will pass? Here you have this child component tag, then you are passing. But here you don't have parent component tag, right? How you will pass? So that's why this is single like one-way data flow. You cannot pass the information from parent to child.
or child to parent. Any questions in props? Hello, anyone who don't understand this? ఎవరికైనా అర్థం
Understand, sir.
కాలేదా? Okay, Bhagavan, I know you will understand. Anyone? Naresh understood. Okay, so
Understand, sir.
okay. So I told you, right? This is a different like you create, you need not to create an instance, right? So here, let's take this example, like you write one child. Okay, so let's take one child here, child, like this. So you pass color to that child. Okay, color means, like, let's take one example here. Color is equal to red. Okay, so now here I'm passing that color to that child component. Color is equal to color. So you need not to create this variable. Okay, you can directly pass that information here, red. Okay, so now I can write how many times I want. I can write the child like this and pass different color to it, purple, orange. Okay, so now I have 3 childrens in this parent class, parent component. Now in the child component, this props, by using this props object, I can write this color, props dot color. So now what happens? Okay, I think there is some error here. Lang name is not defined. Okay, here I think. Okay, just a minute. Can just hold on, guys. Just a minute, I'll be back. Okay. Okay, so if you see here, see this child component, every time it is maintaining their separate property, right? Red, purple, orange. So you write only one code, like props dot color, one line. So this line, this div, you are rendering it again and again. So how many times you call the component with different prop values, property values, then the component will render differently with that information, the props that you provide. Okay, so this is called the component reusability. You can reuse the component by passing different information to that component, so that you will use the same logic, reusable logic here. Okay, this is props. Next, I'll tell you. state, right? Okay. So do you want state for class component or style component? First, what should I tell you? How many of you interested in state logic in class? So function component, it is very simple. Okay. So I'll tell you, like there is, you don't need not to have the parent client, parent child logic. So this is a parent component, right? You just use a hook. Okay. You just call, there is one hook. Okay. Hook is nothing but it is a function. Hook is nothing but it is a function. So you use the state, okay, of the React. So use state is nothing but it is a hook. You have to import it from React. Import use state from React. You have to import this use state hook. Use state is a hook. Hook means it is a function only, normal function. So you just call that function. This function is already defined by React. So you'll just call it. So you import it from React and you'll just call it. So what does this return? What does this accept? Those things you have to understand. So you understand this, like this initial state. So you provide one, it accepts an argument like initial state. Let's say like this one. Okay. So con, and it returns two things. Okay. So you have to write here. So I think you won't understand this now, but let's observe the syntax. Okay. So let's say you have a counter variable. Okay. Counter, set counter. So here I'll show that counter now. Okay. This is simple actually. You take a hook, use state hook, import it from the React, and you call that hook. What it accepts? Initial value you will send, initial state or initial value, and you this, when you call this use state hook, right, it will return two things. One is the current state and the setter function. Okay. If you don't understand this line of code, it's okay. Okay. I'll tell you more detail in next classes again and again. As of now, if you I think most of them don't understand this array syntax and left hand side why we are writing. Okay. This is called array destructuring. So I'll tell you in the next classes, but now understand like this. So this, you call the hook, you pass some value here, and you have two function, this hook will return two things. Okay. This is a function, right? Whenever you call a function, that function already defined by this team, like this, by the React team. So they already defined a use state function like this, and that function returns two things. One is current state, and a setter function. Like this, they return, they will do something in this function. They'll do something in this function, and end of the day they will return the current state and setter function. Okay. So this you need not to define, because React already defined that. So that you are importing here, you are importing here, you import that, you just call that and capture whatever that function is returning here. So this counter is nothing but whatever the value that is current at this point of time, and set counter will be the setter function. So here I am displaying the counter. So let's see what is the counter value now. 1, right? All can see, right? 1. Why 1? Why the value is 1? Because we have this initial value 1. So this 1 is stored in this counter. Now counter is nothing but 1. That's why here when I write counter in the JSX, it is giving 1 because this is stored in this variable. If I change this variable to 2, then the counter will be 2. If I change this to 3, the counter will be 3. The value will be 3. This value will be 3. So how you will change this? Now I am changing directly here, right? How you will change this? You will change this by using the setter function. So that's why you want a setter function. So this setter function will change the value of this counter. So let's take one button. So let's take one button here. So I'll write this in H1, this counter in H1, so that you can all see clearly. So the value I will keep 1 as of now. Okay. So now I have one button. Okay. Let's take one button, increment button. So whenever I click this on click, right? So whenever I click this button, this counter value should be increment. So I'll use this setter function. Okay, set counter. If you don't understand the syntax, just understand the concept. Okay, syntax, however, I will tell you how you should write. Now just understand the concept. What is state? So what I will do, I'll take this counter and I will increment by 1. Counter plus 1. So now when I click this, right, see, whenever I click, the counter value is changing. Okay. Here, I think this one. See the counter, right? So I go here, and here there is one state, but this you see this is hooks state. If you want to see what state value is, the name of that state, you click this magic symbol. So you will get this counter state. Okay, counter is now 1. So what happens when I click, right? When I click this setter method will pass some new value. Okay. So what is counter initially? 1. So this 1 plus 1, 2. 2 will be passed to this state. And now you have this counter will be 2. So here it will be 2 again. And 2 plus 1, 3. 3 plus 1, 4. In that way it will increment. So whenever I click, right, so it will change. So here below you can see, here also you can see it is changing. Okay, when I click increment, 3 becomes 4, 4 becomes 5. Understood, everyone? Similar fashion, you can also decrement. Okay, so if you want to decrement, you do this -1 decrement. So you get another button, so you decrement, you go minus, go plus, you go minus. This is state. Okay, just a minute, guys. Okay, who is having confusion here? Understanding this? Who is having confusion? So only just a little bit of code here. Just you write. Anyone? Everyone listening? Are you following? Are you following me?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So are you understanding this, or any difficulty in understanding this? It's just one line of code to handle the state. So the state is changing. Okay, I'll give more and more examples in the next class. I don't want to. So we are already running up time. We started by 8:30. Now it is 9:45. We hardly have 10 to 15 minutes. I'll also explain how you write state in the in the parent class. So class component. So how you will write state here? Here you are using hook, right? Hooks. Use state hook you are using. Okay. But you cannot use these hooks in class component. Hooks are only for function components. Hooks can only be used in function components, not in parent component. You cannot use hooks. There are a lot of hooks. Use state, use effect, use context, use callback. Those are internal to React. You can also create your custom hooks. So hooks is a new concept that came in React 16.8. Before that, there is no way to write this state in the function component. So you can only write the state here. Like let's take the same example, like counter is equal to state is equal to, you write like this, state is equal to counter 1. So like this you will write in class component. And how you will change this state? You'll have something called this dot set state, this function. You use this dot set state and you will change the state. Okay, this is another way. I'll tell you tomorrow this one, how you will write the state and life cycles. Tomorrow, once I tell you the life cycles, you will understand the complete picture. But today you understand this state. Are we passing this information to another component now? No, right? So you are only using this counter variable and you are changing it inside within the parent component itself. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I can see only few people talking, like Triveni, Bhagavan, Naresh, and Sushmita. Okay, but what happened to others? Sushmita joined twice. Okay, Satish, you are understanding, right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Understood.
Arthamaitunda?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can message me. Okay. So this is one thing. Like tomorrow we will discuss. So you understood the props and state, right? So tomorrow we will discuss more detailed into this, like in the class components how we'll use, and we'll also learn the life cycle methods. Okay, life cycle of a component. So tomorrow we'll learn the life cycle methods of a component and versus use effect hook. Okay, use effect hook. Today we learned like use state hook, but use effect hook also we will learn tomorrow. I'll give more and more topics, but as of now, this is very beginning. Don't try to learn everything on single day. Okay, try to spend some time on it. I'll give one like instead of counter. So I'll give one. You write one. Everyone try this example. Okay. So there is a switch. Okay, this switch. So today what we did here, we did something like increment and decrement the counter, right? So I want all like to so you use one hook. Okay, use state hook and try to turn on and off this button. Okay, you use one button and like try to turn on and turn off this button off. So when I click off, it's an off state, right? When I click, it should on. Okay, when I click again, it should off. So this is called toggle. Okay, toggle. So this exercise you do, like I want everyone. So tomorrow I'll check, like I'll see the output that you are getting. So also try to change the color of this button. So if it is on, you will have a blue color, sorry, green color. If it is off, red color, something like that. The button color, okay, background color. So try to do this. Everyone okay? Doing this?
Yes, sir.
Just a
Yes, Ram.
Yeah, just a simple
Yes, sir.
example. Just toggle
Yes,
it.
sir.
Just toggle it and change the. Okay, so you have to understand one more concept, that is called conditional rendering. Okay, conditional rendering. So conditional rendering means based on the value. Okay, based on the value, how you gonna change the color? See, if button is on, I want red color. If button is off, I want this color. If else conditions, right? So how you will conditionally render that styles, that background color. So that comes another concept. And also we will learn about lists and keys. Okay, and form handling in React using controlled and uncontrolled components. Uncontrolled components. Okay, this is 7. Okay, these are enough as of now, but day by day we have n number of concepts. We will discuss one concept by another concept. And also I think we do not need to discuss this much. Let's take selectors in CSS. Okay, so React is completed, guys. Like the class today, I don't want to explain more, but if you have any doubts, you can ping me, or like you can message me. So selectors, there are different selectors in React, right? Simple selectors, you can directly um, select by using the element. You can also ID select, right, by using hash. And you can select the classes by using the dot, right? So these kind of selectors, universal selectors are there. So you have the star, this is universal selector, and everything will be applied to HTML. Okay, HTML tags. So there are different types of selectors. I wanted you all to go through these selectors. So there are n number of selectors: pseudo class, combinator selectors, pseudo elements. In interview, most of the interviews they'll ask what is the difference between pseudo class and pseudo element. Okay, so you try to spend some time on these selectors, how you will select a particular tag or ID or class, whatever it may be, and how you will apply that style. So if you are facing any difficulty, I'll explain. But now, like, understand this. So we also learned box model, right? I think CSS, for CSS and HTML, this W3 schools will be good. We do not need other now. So try to understand this. All these properties you have, right? Margin, top margin. So one day we will take time and we will go through all of this. If I tell you now, it will be bored to you, but that's why I don't want to discuss more on this. But selectors is one of the important concept that you have to understand to select the element for CSS to apply the styles. Got it? So that's all. Like tomorrow we'll discuss more on state and props. So we'll discuss more on state and whatever the concepts that are there. So I'll add more concepts here and I'll share it with you soon. Okay, any doubts, anyone? I'll see the chat. Anyone? Any doubts?
Sir, I got a problem in my project.
Okay.
Like when I click submit button, it will front end will working fine and back end will be working fine. But when I click the submit button, it gives some course configuration error.
Yeah, course error is cross origin resource sharing error, right? So you have
Yes, sir.
to do some change in the back end only. So how
Sir,
is
I
your back end
also
setup?
give them allow statements,
Okay. You
but still
enabled the
it
course, right?
yes, sir. But it still error given.
Okay, what is that backend? Like what framework you use for backend?
The Spring Boot.
Okay. So if I have free time, I'll ping you, Bhagwan. I'll message you personally. Okay, we'll discuss.
Okay, sir.
Anyone else? Hello? Anyone having doubts? Yes, no.
No, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Satish. Okay, everyone. We'll see tomorrow. Like we'll try to work on this more and more or sooner. We'll also start the like I will also get involved into your projects, whatever the project you are working on, and we'll clear all the dependencies and blockers there. But as of now, just try to spend some time. If I say, for example, today I told you the state, right? The state concept, right? So what you do, you go somewhere in the internet, you spend some time on it. See, it's nothing like for you to like to learn everything at once. Okay. So today, if I tell you some concept, just like read a blog post. Okay. Like let's say React blog post on state or use state, whatever it may be, use state. So you just go here and just read this blog post. Just spend some time, open in your mobile or somewhere. Okay, so you will get, see, whatever the things I did not tell you all this, right? I did not tell you, but you can check like what state does. So you read some blog posts or read somewhere that some lot of information is there in the internet, or you go to YouTube and search for what is use state in React. Search for a YouTube video, check that video, spend some time, type code. Okay, until or unless you spend some time on that concept, you are not going to get. I told you state today, but tomorrow you will forget. Okay, you have to spend some time on that. You have to sit and spend some time on that concept, then only you will understand. If you're not going to spend time, tomorrow or day after tomorrow again you will put blank face if I ask what is use state. Got it, everyone? Please spend some time on it. Yeah, everyone understood what I'm telling?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then thank you, see you guys, bye.